Good day! Today, we will show you how Activity 3 Logic Gate Interconnection will be performed. Let's get started. Here are the following tools and equipment that will be used in the experiment. The crimper, the long nose, the connectors, the ICs, the breadboard, the probe, and the power supply. Make sure to connect all the necessary connections in the breadboard before we start. Also, make sure that pin 7 is connected to the ground and pin 14 is connected to VCC.
The probe should be connected to the positive and the negative side of the PCB, as well as the power supply. In figure 1A, we need one output, and it is letter A. The input should be connected to pin 1 and connected to the negative because the initial input is 0. The next pin 2 is connected to the pin 1 because it is shorted. Checking the output. The output should be 1 and the output is equal to 1. The output is in the pin 1. Pin 2 and pin 3 are the inputs. Connecting the input in pin 2 and the other end is connected to negative because A is 0. Pin 3 is connected to pin 2 because it is shorted. Checking the value is 1. Connecting the pin 2 to positive because A is 1. Connecting pin 3 to pin 2 because it is also shorted. Checking the value is 0. The input A is connected to pin 1 and another connector is connected to pin 2, which is the output, and the output is connected to the first input on AND IC. The second input, which is B, is connected to pin 3 and the output is connected to pin 4. The output is connected to the second input of AND gate IC. The input A and B is connected to negative, which is 0, 0. Checking the value, the value is 1. When A is 0 and B is 1, the value is 0. When A is 1 and B is 0, the value is 0. And when A is 1 and B is 1, the value is 0. The input is connected to pin 1, which is A, and the output is connected to pin 2, which is not A. Not A is connected to the first input of OR gate. The second input, which is B, is connected to pin 3, and the output is connected to pin 4, which is not B. Connecting the not B in the second input of the OR gate. When A is negative and B is negative, which is 0, the output will be 1. When A is 0 and B is 1, the output is 1. When A is 1 and B is 0, the output is 1. When A and B are both 1, the output will be 0. Not, and OR gate. The first input is A, and it is connected to pin 1 and to the negative side of the PCB. Getting another connector, we will connect it to pin 1, which is A, and A should be connected to the first input of AND gate. Getting another connector, and it should be connected to pin 3, which is B, and it is connected to the negative side of the PCB. Getting the output of B, which is not B, and connect it to the second input of AND gate. Checking the value, the connections should be placed correctly. Getting the output of A, which is not A, and not A should be connected to the fourth pin, which is the input of the AND gate. Make sure all your connections are correct, and B is also connected to the second input of the AND gate. So we have two sets of input, A not B and not AB. The output of not AB is connected to the first input of the OR gate, and the output of A not B is also connected to the second input of the OR gate. Make sure all your connections are correct. And checking the value, when 0, 0, the value is 0. When A is 0 and B is 1, the value will be 1. And when A is 1 and B is 0, the value will be 1. And when A and B are both 1, the value will be 0. This circuit combination consists of NOT, AND, and OR gate. The first input should be connected to pin 1 and to the negative side of the PCB. Getting another connector that is connected to input A, and the other side is connected to the first input of AND gate. Getting another connector that is connected to input B, which is connected to the negative side of the PCB. Another connector is connected to B, and the other end is also connected to the second input of the AND gate. The output not A is connected to pin 3, and the other end is connected to pin 4, which is the first input of the second set of AND gate. Getting the output of B, which is not B, is also connected to pin 5, which is the second input of the second set of AND gate. Getting the output of AB that is connected to pin 1 of the OR gate, and getting the output of not A, not B that is connected to the second input of OR gate. When A is 0 and B is 0, the output will be 1. And when A is 0 and B is 1, the output will be 0. Make sure to check your connections. When A is 1 and B is 0, the output will be 0. And when the both inputs are both 1, the output will be 1.
And that concludes Activity 3 entitled Logic Gate Interconnection. By now, you should be able to perform Activity 3 by your own, or mostly by your own. Thanks for watching!
Bye!